the perfect song for today. If you even took a look outside, you know what I'm talking about. Well, you know, since 2001, more than 3 million U.S. military service members have deployed overseas in support of the post-9/11 global war on terror.
Of those post-9/11 veterans that have returned home, reports indicate that they are 193% more likely to be diagnosed with cancer when compared to their civilian counterparts.
And we want to know what's causing this, and to help us answer that question is our guest today from the Hunter 7 Foundation, Chelsea Simoni. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And it's not just cancer that we're seeing, but increased cases of vitamin D deficiencies, irritable bowel syndrome, sleep apnea. When it comes to causes, burn pits get the focus, but you say it's also what the eyes don't see, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's a critical point. And I think, you know, the topic of conversation is always burn pits, but it's like when you see a car accident on the side of the road, you know, the car's on fire, you have to look at it, but it's what the eyes don't see. And so, you know, for example, acid reflux is one of the most common symptoms in post-9/11 veterans. And, you know, when you look at it from a topical level, you assume, oh, maybe it's your diet, maybe it's drinking too much, but a lot of people don't think about the bacterias that are prevalent in the Middle East and Africa. And so, you know, if these bacteria go untreated, they can cause gastric cancer, and we see that all the time too. So, you know, it's looking at things from a different perspective, you know, looking at the job, looking at your environment, you know, equating for stress, all of the above, really. And you know, you don't even have to deploy to be exposed to toxins. An Air Force study just proved that with the ballistic missiles and the lymphoma cases. So burn pits are just the tip of the spear.
There's so many things to consider, and I'm so happy that you have educated us on the fact that there are things that you need to be considering everywhere. So when we're talking about the branches, which branch is most affected? Is this more in the deployed population of servicemen and women?
So ironically, a study was just released less than 2 weeks ago, and it was a millennial cohort study that looked at DoD overall over about a 20-year period. And what it found was that you're actually less likely to be diagnosed with cancer if you deployed due to the healthy soldier effect. And you're more likely to be diagnosed with cancer if you haven't deployed. And that kind of just, you know, there's a lot more that goes into it, but it makes sense because when you look at the cancer rates on active duty alone, the Air Force, you know, a branch that is considered one of the better branches to serve in terms of comfort and safety, and, you know, they treat you a lot better. But the Air Force has the highest rates of cancers across post-9/11 active duty service members. And it really makes you think because they deploy the least,
right?
They have the nicest living conditions, and they're treated the best.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And another startling aspect to this is the cost analysis. We have an infographic to share. This shows that we are spending more on disability benefits than in actual health and medical care. So why is that significant?
So that's significant because there's been a lot of discussion about, you know, cutting veterans' disability benefits. And as a disabled veteran myself, I understand what it's like. I really do. But, you know, we should look at it differently. And this is a healthcare problem overall, right? So right now we're at a downstream tertiary approach to we're sustaining chronic illness, right? So we're sustaining chronic illness, whether it be terminal cancer or identifying it too late, chronic health conditions, you know, but instead of preventing those exposures upstream and instead of screening early on and identifying those risk factors earlier on where A, you can save lives and B, it doesn't become a chronic condition, we'd save more money long term. So you spend a little bit now on healthcare and you'll see a better return on investment down the line with veterans benefits. So not necessarily, you know, should we cut veterans benefits by any means, you know, as a disabled veteran, I can say that, but we do need to look at taking our healthcare in a different direction, a more proactive and preventative, you know, method, but more so spend the money now to save the lives later, because there's no amount of money that can bring back a loved one once they're gone. And that's something we see every day is you know, cancer deaths that could have been prevented. So
Chelsea, you have encouraged us and educated us in so many ways today. We want to thank you for that and your service. We definitely want to send you a lot of love. And for more information on Chelsea's tireless work with the Hunter 7 Foundation, we'll make sure that we have that on allindiana.tv.